How many clothes do you really wear out of your wardrobe? Let's dive into the art of downsizing your closet so that what you keep is what truly serves you in this season of life. I remember when I realized that my closet had kind of gotten out of control. And it was when I would go into that space and I realized that I had clothes to accommodate multiple body shapes and sizes because this was after having two kids and my weight fluctuated just like everybody else's, regardless of my promises to get in shape, eat well, and all the things that were very worthy goals. And I still hold on to those goals right now. But when I would walk into that closet and look at my wardrobe, it ultimately felt like a lot of unfinished business was staring back at me, a lot of promises that I hadn't made to myself. And quite frankly, it just made me not feel good. So I kind of, had this mindset, which I imagine that you might have the same, where you hold on to these things because you think you might need them someday. You're going to lose the weight someday. You're going to find a place to wear that fabulous dress or that one of a kind suit someday. And someday never happens. And these things just continue to accumulate over time. You never touch them again. You don't really think about them in any other ways except for moments when you reflect, like me, and you just kind of feel bad. So I decided to take control. And at least for me, the first time that I really dedicated energy to decluttering my closet, it was transformational and it was very freeing. And because of that, I want to share with you my process so that you can feel the same. Now, I want to give you some grace because it is very easy to accumulate a bunch of stuff over the years. I mean, that's the nature of the game. If you're like me and you're over 50, you've gone through multiple seasons where you just kind of think that, this is going to fit me here, this is going to serve a purpose there, and then you hit 50 and things are just kind of different and your priorities have evolved. So as we go through these different phases, I really want you to, think about your personal story. You've already heard my personal story about the fluctuating weight and all that jazz, but what's yours? Think about the things that might have been really trendy that are in your closet, but they no longer match your size, they no longer match your style, and they damn sure don't match your level of comfort in this stage. So if you have all of those things still in your closet, you don't have a wardrobe, you have a junk drawer. And it's okay because as we get older, our style and our priorities are naturally going to shift. And as your body changes, even if you haven't had the weight gain like I've had, maybe just your thinking about what feels good, the fabrics, the way things are cut, the way they flow on your body might have evolved from what you were or what you were doing and prioritizing at 30 versus age 50. But for some reason, even though our bodies and our minds and our lives evolve, we still hold on to stuff. We somehow think that, you know, if we hold on to these things, that we're honoring the memory. We're giving the giving something status in our wardrobe unnecessarily. Quite frankly, the truth is that holding on to these things just creates unnecessary clutter. And it's okay for us to decide that something no longer serves us and it's time to offload it. So here's the first action item that I want you to take. I want you to go into your closet and spend some time. And I mean, spend some time, honey. This is not going to be anything that you can just fix overnight. It took a while to accumulate all these things. So allow yourself some grace as you start to strategically offload some of it. So when you go into your closet, I want you to go through everything. This is going to be the stuff that you can see. It's going to be the stuff that's stuffed at the back of the closet, even the things that you have stored underneath your bed. I want you to pull all of that out. And before you start separating stuff that you want to get rid of, just pause. I don't want you to get rid of anything just yet. I want you to pull out the things that you actually use. So I'm talking about the stuff that is actively in your rotation, whether it's stuff that you wear weekly, stuff that you wear every month, whatever it is, you get to actually create this category. So think about the things that you can, number one, fit. Am I the only one dealing with weight issues? Also, the stuff that matches your daily function, it matches your style right now. Because if you're over 50 like me, some of the trends just we kind of let that stuff go a long time ago. So think about all of those things that are actively in the rotation. And you know, these are the things that you're washing in the laundry, the stuff that you're actively sending to the dry cleaners every week. Put that stuff in one section first, because these are the items that are your priority, because it's the stuff that you actually use. So once you do that, I want you to take a step back and look at your entire wardrobe. Look at the stuff that you actually use in proportion to everything else. What does that look like? Is the stuff you actually wear the smallest section of your closet? That might tell you some things, my dear. So now that you've made this first categorization, I want you to ask yourself a question. What's your current style? And before you have to think too hard on this, just look at the stuff that you actually wear. Look at that little section, and I'm assuming that it's a small section of your closet right now, and look at the items that are in that section. You know, are they more form-fitting? Are they more flowy? Are they bright colors? Are they safe neutral tones? Do you have a lot of black, a lot of white, a lot of denim? Whatever it is, what are the styles that you can pull out of that section of your wardrobe? And think about what works for your life today. And if you're like me, where you work from home, you may prioritize comfort and functionality over stuff that's going to be more professional and sharp looking. And you know, that's okay, because even though I want to look polished, because I will talk about that in just a second, there's some things that just don't get seen every single day. So if you're in a situation like mine, then you may want pieces that are just simply versatile and functional and comfortable. But I will say that, at least for my story, I used to have a job where I drove into the office every single day. And of course, the things that I put on my wardrobe at the time was the traditional professional look. So it's going to be the nice slacks, it's going to be the occasional jackets, the crisp shirts or blouses, silk blouses, things like that. And even the high heels, because I'm a short girl. You can't tell by looking at this video, but I'm a short girly. So I used to have this complex about wanting to add a few inches to my height. And I was always in heels, regardless of how comfortable they weren't. But, things have changed over the years. And primarily, I'm working out of the home. So what you see here in this video is really the max that the public sees of me for a daily basis. So what I prioritize is my look from the chest up, and everything else is just all comfort. But I will tell you that even if your work hasn't changed, maybe just the things that you're willing to put up with in this season have shifted. I know shoes is a priority, comfort is a priority, things that I can wash at home is also a priority. So think about your situation in, response to that. It's going to be important for you to embrace your current needs, whether that's going to be really considering your current body style or even your lifestyle. And for me, it was a mix of both. So maybe you've noticed that your clothes don't feel the same anymore. Maybe you're noticing that there's certain levels of comfort that you're willing to put up with that were not a priority once upon a time. And that's good, because I want you to choose the things that make you feel comfortable and confident in this current season. So this is your next action tip. I want you to really think about what your current daily routine is. and what clothes are going to serve that daily routine. And what are the outfits that make you feel confident in those spaces that you're in every single day? And the reason I'm asking this is because once you've identified the pieces that you wear often, the functions that those pieces need to serve you, it's going to be a lot more clear what you need to hold on to in your wardrobe to fit your life right now. Now that you've identified some of the things that you want to keep, it's time to start thinking about the things you'll let go. And I know that this is actually the hard part because there's so many layers to this, a lot of emotion attached to the things that we let go. But I want you to possibly adopt my 1 year rule. And for me, I have a rule where if it's something that I haven't thought of, haven't touched, haven't worn, in at least a year, then it is a candidate for something I can strategically let go. And this is the hardest part for most people. So I still, I keep saying it over and over again that I want you to give yourself some grace because this is the hardest part, but it's also the most freeing. It doesn't matter how much you spent on an item. It doesn't matter how much you loved it once upon a time. If you haven't used it in a year, it's probably a good item for you to let go. And while we're at it, let's talk about the guilt. Let go of 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 the guilt. I don't want you to feel guilty about needing to let go of something just because you once upon a time spent a bunch of money on it. Or maybe it's something that was given to you as a gift. You are not obligated to hold on to something just for those reasons. It is a good time for you to be completely selfish and just think about what you're making space for today. What is serving you today? And you also, by choosing to let something go, you are actually doing a public service because by donating something or selling something, you're possibly giving it a second life to somebody that's going to look at your junk, your things that you're discarding, and it's going to be reimagined as vintage. And really be honest with yourself about the things that you're going to be offloading versus the things that you're going to be keeping. How often have you worn each item? When was the last time you even thought about some of those items? And just ask yourself simple questions. If it doesn't spark joy anymore, if it doesn't have a function anymore, it is okay to let it go. Now, I want to talk about something that I personally am obsessed with, and that is the concept of having a capsule wardrobe. And you can probably find a bunch of fashion experts online that are talking about the capsule wardrobe. It's kind of new to me, so forgive me if this is something that you are already working on. But the capsule wardrobe, in a nutshell, is basically a small collection of clothing that's versatile and easy to mix and match with each other. That's going to be things that are probably along a similar color palette or basic neutral tones that you can either dress up or dress down for multiple occasions. So you have a certain number of items that you basically mix and match with each other. And in a capsule wardrobe, you're starting with the basics. So think about having a basic pair of black trousers. Think about having one well-fitting blazer or that crisp white shirt that, is so classic. Or even the little black dress, something that we probably all have in our closets. And think about the things that are like statement pieces that you can add your personality to. And these are going to be high quality items. So they're going to be timeless, they're going to be functional, and they're going to stand up to the wear and tear over time. Now, I will tell you personally, as I have started working with building my capsule wardrobe, I've been amazed at how much easier it is to get dressed for certain occasions because I'm not sifting through a bunch of stuff. I'm not digging through tons of options. I'm basically grabbing pieces that I already know work well together and they feel good on me. I can tell you that my mornings are a lot less stressful when it is time for me to get out and socialize with the real world. And I just feel more confident because I know these are pieces that are going to work well for me. Now, here is your next action tip. Remember that section of your wardrobe that I said you hold on to because those are the things that are actively in your rotation? I want you to play around with the idea of a capsule wardrobe just from those pieces. So, what do I mean by that? I mean that you're going to take those items out of your closet and I want you to try to mix and match and create complete outfits out of just the things that are in what's remaining in that small section of your wardrobe. And have fun with it. It doesn't necessarily have to work 100%, but I want you to try to figure out some ways that you can create different looks for different occasions. And think about how many different outfits that you are able to create just from what's already in your closet. And then you'll probably be surprised at the versatility and the great ways that you can mix and match just from those couple of items. And then after you've played around with it for a while and you've exhausted all the possibilities, I want you to notice that there's probably some key items that are missing from this capsule wardrobe. And that's good news because now you get to go shopping, but you get to be very intentional about the types of functional pieces that you're now going to add back into your wardrobe. These also are going to be things that you have a very renewed perspective because you're buying them right now in this season of life where you are more mature, you have a better clue of what looks and feels good for you and what's going to serve you best today. Another opportunity to do some downsizing and decluttering in your closet is at the transition of seasons. Now, I say this as somebody that lives in hot ass Texas, so we really don't have a lot of seasons. But we do have a transition between the heat of the summer into the cool of the winter. It doesn't get really cold here, it just gets cool. Nevertheless, it's a time when I start putting away the summer dresses and I start pulling out the sweaters and the cardigans. And at least for me, I look at some of those sweaters and the jackets, and every year I come up with stuff that I just don't wear. And I have to really ask myself a question, if I didn't use it this season, am I realistically going to use it next season? And if I'm not going to use it next season, is it something that I even need to find storage for during the off season? So do this little exercise for yourself. And I want you to really think about it as the seasons are transitioning. Did you wear all of those sundresses? Did you wear all of those tank tops? Did you wear those shorts or anything else that just didn't feel good in this current season? And if you haven't touched it, again, that's that 1 year rule. You see how it keeps creeping its head into the conversation? If you haven't worn it this season, it's probably a good possibility you're not going to wear it next season. So ask yourself, is it worth holding on to? And if it's not worth holding on to, then that's one less thing that you have to find storage for in the off season. I want to go back to a point that I made just a minute ago about, doing the capsule wardrobe, thinking about the things that you can mix and match in your current functional items, and identifying some pieces that you might be missing. And again, that's an opportunity for you to now go shopping for some key pieces that can be added back into your wardrobe after a lot of thoughtfulness about what's truly going to be functional and serve you well and feel good today. And as you do that shopping, I want you to kind of let's reframe it because I'm not talking about going someplace and investing in a bunch of fast fashion. I have done that. I have been that person where I would find a particular thing that I liked, and because this one in white looked good, I'd buy it in black, I'd buy it in yellow, I'd buy it in red, I'd buy it in all the colors because that was a bargain. I am not that person anymore. And fast fashion just doesn't appeal to me because, based on wisdom and experience, I know that those items are not going to last me any amount of time. and they probably won't hold up in the wash for the first cycle anyway. So anyway, that is my personal story, and I want you to really consider this for yourself, that as you go shopping, think about the things that you want as a full grown up. In your 50s, you probably are able to, be have a little more discernment with your budget. You probably are at the highest earning level of your career. And let's get the stuff that we really want that's going to last us. So I want you to think about pieces that are going to be durable, things that are going to stand the test of time, and like a great pair of jeans. You're probably not buying jeans every single day. So get a pair that looks really good, that fits you well, that you feel confident in. And you probably don't need five new pairs of jeans. You probably just need one solid, good quality pair. Same thing for a well tailored blazer or a one quality leather handbag. These are things that, when they're taken care of, they're going to look great and they're going to serve you well over time. So here is your next action tip. I want you to go shopping. Calm down, because I don't want you to go crazy with that option, because with this shopping, I want you to create a realistic budget and think about each category of your wardrobe. So I mean the little black dress, the handbag, the well-tailored blazer, the one crisp white shirt. Think of all of these categories, and I want you to create a budget to invest in one item from each of these categories. So one well-made pair of shoes, one pair of tailored slacks, one well-made blazer, one well-crafted leather handbag, whatever the situation is for your personal needs. And I want you to buy one of those items this year. Let me hold your hand while I'm saying this, because I'm not telling you that you've got to just look all drab and like an old lady. No, I actually want you to look fabulous. But with the things that you're going to be adding back to your newly decluttered and downsized wardrobe, the things that you're adding back are going to be quality, functional, and they're going to be versatile. So if you're thinking about a capsule wardrobe like I am myself, then I want you to make sure that these are pieces that are going to be worth the investment. And your closet is going to thank you. So the things that you're buying, if it's going to be one well-tailored blazer, one really solid pair of tailored slacks, if you're only buying one of them this year, then you're really able to splurge and make sure that it's going to be in that mix and match capacity with your new capsule wardrobe, so that you actually can have one quality item in every category and is not taking up a bunch of space in your closet. Use the 1 year rule. If you haven't touched it, if you haven't worn it, if you haven't thought about it in at least a year, it's okay to let it go. And with those things that you're letting go, you're going to create 3 piles or 3 boxes. So there's going to be one box for you to donate, one box for you to sell, and one box for you to trash. So let's break that down a little bit, because the first box, where you are going to donate it, think about the places that are going to possibly need those items. And I like to think about any of my local women's shelters, or even organizations that are focused on giving women or men in transition professional clothing or professional suits that'll help them in job interviews. It's going to be a great public service that you're providing, and somebody else, even though you're offloading it and you're not able to use it anymore, it's going to be brand new to somebody else, and it really serves a greater purpose. For the items that you're going to sell, I want you to research some of the online items for selling your items off. And you could probably do a very quick Google search of how to sell gently used clothing, or even some designer items if you have those in your closet. And these discarded items might be trash to you, but to somebody else, that's going to be vintage, honey. And it's going to be a real score for them to be able to give those things a second life. And the other benefit of selling some of those quality designer items is that it puts money back in your pocket so that you can reinvest into items that are going to be added to your new capsule wardrobe. And that last box for the items that need to be trashed, I know it's going to sound bad because you're thinking, oh my God, I don't want to trash these things. I feel bad about it. Whatever your story, your emotional attachment is to it, just know that there are some things that truly might have seen better days. And you don't want to insult anybody with items that just truly just aren't worth it for holding on to anymore. You can let those things go. But it's another opportunity for you to research organizations within your local community that might do recycling of those items. There's a lot of creative ways that things are being upcycled. Now, with everything that I've told you today, all the tips, all the decluttering and downsizing guidance that we've talked about, it's gonna be emotional. And I don't think I can sugarcoat that, because that's the part that I don't think is talked about often enough. Because yeah, we might have goals of fitting back into something that's too small, but there are some things that you're going to start going through your closet, and it's going to trigger some memories. There are going to be things that you truly have forgotten about, moments in your history that just, it's going to take a moment for you to really kind of go through that and just give thanks for those moments, to really think about the way it shaped your life up to this point. And I'm okay with you just taking that time to really just sit with it for a minute. And once you have processed those emotions, you process those feelings, then think about the good service that you're doing for other people once you offload these things from your wardrobe. And I'd love to hear about it, because if this is a difficult process for you, I mean, I know physically it's going to be a lot to, get that stuff out of your closet, but emotionally and mentally, let me know about it in the comments. What is the hardest part about downsizing your closet? If you put that in the chat, there's probably going to be a lot of other people that have similar stories, and I would love for us to be able to build a community around this conversation. So that being said, if you found this video and the tips that I provided you helpful in any way, then please consider taking a look at my new ebook, which is the Midlife Guide to Downsizing Your Home. And I realize that not everybody is going to do the big downsize like we did, but there are aspects of your life in your current home that can be decluttered and simplified so that it can remove some of the stress from your life as someone that's over 50. The link to get a copy of that ebook is in the description. And if it is helpful to you, then definitely let me know. But more than that, share it with somebody else who probably also needs these tips. And if you want to declutter and continue to do that with confidence, definitely keep sharing the love. Please offer some tips. If there's anything that has worked for you that I might have missed, I am always on the lookout for some good decluttering tips. So please make sure that you share it. And more than anything, remember that getting rid of your stuff in midlife is going to make room for things that are truly purposeful in this season. So don't hesitate. Be sure that this is something that you are very thoughtful about, because I want you to treat midlife as an upgrade. We don't have to hold on to the past. We do want to go fast forward into a bright future and really be completely selfish in this season of life. So thank you for joining me for this video today, and I will see you in the next one.